Egyptian cuisine makes heavy use of legumes, vegetables and fruits since Egypt's rich Nile Valley and Delta produce large quantities of these crops in high quality. History and characteristics. The history of Egyptian cuisine begins with ancient Egypt. Archaeological excavations have revealed that workers on the Great Pyramids of Giza were paid in bread and onions, apparently their customary diet as peasants in the Egyptian countryside. Dental analysis and the desiccated loaves occasionally found in excavated tombs confirm this, in addition to indicating that ancient Egyptian bread was made with flour from emmer wheat. Bread made from a simple recipe forms the backbone of Egyptian cuisine. It is consumed at almost all Egyptian meals. A working-class or rural Egyptian meal might consist of little more than bread and beans. The local bread is a form of hearty, thick, glutinous pita bread called aish masri or aish baladi rather than the Arabic hubs. The word comes from the Semitic root es with the meaning to live, be alive. The word aywise itself has the meaning of life, way of living, livelihood, subsistence. In modern Standard and Classical Arabic, folklore holds that this synonymity indicates the centrality of bread to Egyptian life. In modern Egypt, the government subsidizes bread, dating back to a Nasser-era policy. In 2008, a major food crisis caused ever longer bread lines at government-subsidized bakeries where there would normally be none. Occasional fights broke out over bread, leading to fear of rioting. Egyptian dissidents and outside observers of the former National Democratic Party regime frequently criticized the bread subsidy as an attempt to buy off the Egyptian urban working classes in order to encourage acceptance of the authoritarian system. Nevertheless, the subsidy continued after the 2011 revolution. On a culinary level, bread is commonly used as gamosa, a utensil, at the same time providing carbohydrates and protein to the Egyptian diet. Egyptians used bread to scoop up food, sauces, and dips and to wrap kebabs, falafel, and the like in the manner of sandwiches. Most pita breads are baked at high temperatures, causing the flattened rounds of dough to puff up dramatically. When removed from the oven, the layers of baked dough remain separated inside the deflated pita, which allows the bread to be opened into pockets, creating a space for use in various dishes. Aish merah is an Egyptian flat bread made with 5 to 10% ground fenugreek seeds added to maize flour. It is part of the traditional diet of the Egyptian countryside, prepared locally in village homes. The loaves are flat and wide, and usually about 50 centimeters in diameter. The maize flour is made into a soft dough that is fermented overnight with the help of a sourdough starter, then shaped into round loaves and allowed to rise or proof for 30 minutes before being flattened into round discs, which are then baked. This bread can be kept for days in an airtight container. The addition of fenugreek seeds increases the protein content, storage length and digestibility of the bread. On the other hand, it causes the eater to exude a distinctive odor in his or her sweat, which is occasionally mocked by more urban Egyptians. Main courses. Egyptian cuisine is characterized by dishes such as full medam, mashed fava beans, kosheri, a mixture of lentils, rice, pasta, and other ingredients, molokhaya, chopped and cooked bush okra with garlic and coriander sauce, and feta mashaltet. Egyptian cuisine shares similarities with food of the Eastern Mediterranean region, such as rice-stuffed vegetables, grape leaves, shawarmas, kebab, falafel, baba ganoush, and baklava. Some consider kosheri, a mixture of rice, lentils, and macaroni, to be the national dish. Full medam is also one of the most popular dishes. Fava bean is also used in making falafel, which originated in Egypt and spread around to other parts of the Middle East. Ancient Egyptians are known to have used a lot of garlic and onions in their everyday dishes. Fresh garlic mashed with other herbs is used in spicy tomato salad and also stuffed in boiled or baked aubergines. Garlic fried with coriander is added to molokhaya, a popular green soup made from finely chopped jute leaves, sometimes with chicken or rabbit. Fried onions can be also added to kosheri. Other food items are beef tek, kirsha, bird tongue noodle soup, basara, duck, dukkha, eggs with bastama, ferret pane, fizake, fitia, pies made of thin dough with liberal quantities of samna. The fillings may be either savory or sweet. Certain types of restaurants specialize in fitia, although since at least the early 2000s they also generally make pizza, goose, hummus, kosheri, lentil soup, chicken liver, beef liver, molokhaya with rabbits, chicken or other type of meat, pigeon stuffed with rice, shish taouk, a relatively recent import from the Levant, sayadiyah, white cheese and tomato salad with olive oil and garlic. Tagine, a typical food found all over North Africa. In Egypt, this generally refers to a dish consisting of meat or vegetables baked in an oven in a cylindrical glazed stoneware crock with a sauce. Lamb, beef, chickpeas, artichokes, okra, and broad beans were all popular Egyptian tagine items. Octopus, olkas, taro root, generally peeled and prepared either with Swiss chard or tomato. Unpeeled olkas and eggplant make the tabka sorde, or black dish, served to and despised by conscripts in the Egyptian armed forces. Mussels, shrimp, fata, bamia, burum bamia, kawaria and membar, dukkha, nefata. Desserts. Egyptian desserts resemble other Eastern Mediterranean desserts. Basbousa, sometimes called harissa, is a spicy dish made from semolina and soaked in a sugar syrup. It is usually topped with almonds and traditionally cut vertically into pieces so that each piece has a diamond shape. Baklava is a sweet dish made from many layers of filo pastry, an assortment of nuts, and soaked in a sweet syrup. Ashel sarai fateh, a pancake stuffed with everything from eggs to apricots or fruit of choice. Puravoron is a common dish in all of North Africa. It is a sweet dish similar to kak but much thinner. It is like shortbread and usually topped with roasted almonds. Kak is a traditional sweet dish served most commonly during Eid al-Fitr in Egypt. It is a shortbread biscuit covered with icing sugar, which may be stuffed with dates, walnuts, or agamea or just served plain. Kunafar is a dish of batter, fingers, fried on a hot grill and stuffed with nuts, meats, heavy whipped cream or sweets. Lukmat al-Qadi literally translates to, the judge's bite. They are small, round donuts which are crunchy on the outside and soft and syrupy on the inside. They may be served with dusted cinnamon and powdered sugar. Katayef is a dessert reserved for the Muslim holiday of Ramadan, a sort of sweet crepe filled with cheese or nuts. Rosbi laban is made with short-grain white rice, full cream milk, sugar, and vanilla. It may be served dusted with cinnamon. Ali, a national dish of Egypt, is a raisin cake soaked in milk and served hot. Other desserts include fatia mashaltet, couscous Egyptian style, with butter or thickened cream and sugar, plus nuts and dried fruit. Halawa, honey and coconut pie. Ladida, malban, mehalabaya, a sweet blancmange. Melabs, cakes. Traditional apple cakes are seasoned with various spices such as nutmeg or cinnamon to provide additional flavor. Crushed nuts can also be added to the batter, the most popular being walnuts and almonds. Sponge cake is a cake based on flour, sugar, and eggs, sometimes leavened with baking powder, that derives its structure from an egg foam into which the other ingredients are folded. Vanilla slices are pastry made of several layers of puff pastry alternating with a sweet filling, typically pastry cream, but sometimes whipped cream, or jam. It is usually glazed with icing or fondant in alternating white and brown strips, and coned. Cuisine and religious practice. Although Ramadan is a month of fasting for Muslims in Egypt, it is usually a time when Egyptians pay a lot of attention to food variety and richness. Since breaking the fast is a family affair, often with entire extended families meeting at the table just after sunset, there are several special desserts served almost exclusive during Ramadan, such as kunafar and katayef, tijef. In this month, many Egyptians prepare a special table for the poor or passers-by, usually in a tent in the street, called Maradet Rahman, which translates literally as Table of the Gracious. These may be fairly simple or quite lavish, depending on the wealth and ostentation of the provider. Observant Copts adhere to fasting periods according to the Coptic calendar. These may practically extend to more than two-thirds of the year for the most extreme and observant. The more secular Coptic population mainly fasts only for Easter and Christmas. The Coptic diet for fasting is essentially vegan. During this fasting, Copts usually eat vegetables and legumes fried in oil and avoid meat, chicken, and dairy products, including butter and cream. Beverages. Tea is the national drink in Egypt, followed only distantly by Egyptian or Turkish coffee. Egyptian tea is uniformly black and sour and is generally served in a glass, sometimes with milk. Tea packed and sold in Egypt is almost exclusively imported from Kenya and Sri Lanka. The Egyptian government considers tea a strategic crop and runs large tea plantations in Kenya. Egyptian tea comes in two varieties, kosheri and sayedi. Kosheri tea, popular in Lower Egypt, is prepared using the traditional method of steeping black tea in boiled water and letting it sit for a few minutes. It is almost always sweetened with cane sugar and often flavored with fresh mint leaves. Adding milk is also common. Kosheri tea is usually light in color and flavor, with less than a half teaspoonful of tea per cup considered to be near the high end. Sayedi tea is common in Upper Egypt. It is prepared by boiling black tea with water for as long as 5 minutes over a strong flame. Sayedi tea is extremely strong and dark, with 2 teaspoonfuls of tea per cup being the norm. It is sweetened with copious amounts of cane sugar. Sayedi tea is often black even in liquid form. Tea is a vital part of daily life and folk etiquette in Egypt. It typically accompanies breakfast in most households, and drinking tea after lunch is a common practice. Visiting another person's household, regardless of socio-economic level or the purpose of the visit, entails a compulsory cup of tea. Similar hospitality might be required for a business visit to the private office of someone wealthy enough to maintain one, depending on the nature of the business. A common nickname for tea in Egypt is duty, as serving tea to a visitor is considered a duty, while anything beyond is a nicety. Green tea is a recent arrival to Egypt and is not particularly popular. This contrasts with certain parts of the Maghreb and Sahara, where gunpowder tea has traditionally been used to make tuareg tea and the tea for the Moroccan tea ceremony. Besides true tea, herbal teas are also often served at Egyptian tea houses. Karkada, a tea of dried hibiscus sepals, is particularly popular, as it is in other parts of North Africa. It is generally served extremely sweet and cold, but may also be served hot. This drink is said to have been a preferred drink of the pharaohs. In Egypt and Sudan, wedding celebrations are traditionally toasted with a glass of hibiscus tea. On a typical street in downtown Cairo, one can find many vendors and open-air cafes selling the drink. In Egypt, karkada is used as a means to lower blood pressure when consumed in high amounts. Infusions of mint, cinnamon, dried ginger, and anise are also common, as is salab. Most of these herbal teas are considered to have medicinal properties as well. Particularly common is an infusion of hot lemonade in which mint leaves have been steeped and sweetened with honey and used to combat mild sore throat. Coffee is considered a part of the traditional welcome in Egypt. It is usually prepared in a small coffee pot, which is called Dahl or kanika, kare in Egypt. It is served in a small cup made for coffee called, in Egypt, sugarcane juice is called asab and is an incredibly popular drink served by almost all fruit juice vendors, who can be found abundantly in most cities. Licorice teas and carob juice drinks are traditionally drunk during the Islamic month of Ramadan, as is Qamar ad-Din, a thick drink made by reconstituting sheets of dried apricot with water. The sheets themselves are often consumed as candy. A sour, chilled drink made from tamarind is popular during the summer called Tamr Hindi. It literally means Indian dates, which is a local term for tamarind. Bibliography. Balquill, Richard. Food and Feasts in Ancient Egypt. New York. New Discovery. Katie Syndrome.